Alright guys, welcome back to F1 News Breakdown. Mercedes have been caught exploiting a massive loophole in the 2026 engine regulations, and rivals are calling it straight-up cheating. The FIA just held an emergency meeting about this, and Toto Wolff's response? Absolutely savage. Plus, wait till you hear what Mercedes are planning to do if the FIA tries to stop them. And there's evidence they've been sandbagging this trick for years. Drop your thoughts in the comments as we go through this absolute mess. Hit that like button if you're here for the drama, and subscribe if you're new because this saga is just getting started. So here's what happened. Imagine you're taking a test in school, right? The teacher says, "I'm only checking your work when it's on my desk at room temperature." So you figure out a way to make your answers change after the teacher checks them. Technically, you pass the test. But are you actually following the rules? That's exactly what Mercedes have done with their 2026 engine. Here's the breakdown. The new regulations dropped the engine compression ratio limit from 18:1 down to 16:1. Why? Sustainability, efficiency, all that good stuff. But here's the kicker. The FIA only tests these engines cold and static at ambient temperature. Mercedes apparently designed their engine to be exactly 16:1 when it's cold. But when that engine heats up during a race, reports are saying it gets closer to 18:1. And the power advantage from that? We're talking 10 to 20 horsepower. That's massive. And get this. Honda was apparently the first team to blow the whistle to the FIA. They saw what Mercedes were doing and said, "Hold on, that's not right." As one viewer perfectly put it in the comments, "Flexi wings are out, flexi engines are in." And honestly, that's brilliant. Another comment nailed it. The engine must comply with the rules at all times, not just at ambient temperature. But here's where this gets absolutely wild. Toto Wolff's response to all this. So rivals are up in arms, right? Ferrari, Honda, Audi, all screaming at the FIA about this loophole. And Toto Wolff comes out with this absolute gem of a response. He literally said, and I quote, "Just get your shit together." Can you believe that? He went on, just doing secret meetings, sending secret letters. Keep trying to invent ways of testing that just don't exist. And then he dropped this line. Maybe you want to find excuses before you even started. Now, Mercedes claim they worked with the FIA throughout the entire development process. Every step was approved. Toto's defense is simple. Our engine is absolutely legal. And look, during Barcelona testing, Mercedes completed 500 laps. That's the most of any team. George Russell is now the championship favorite going into the season. The comments are absolutely killing me on this. Mercedes are sandbagging serious déjà vu. And honestly, yeah. Someone else said, Mercedes getting caught, and now saying exactly what Horner said before, with the crying laughing emoji. It's comedy gold. But here's the political game happening behind the scenes. Ferrari, Audi, and Honda are united against Mercedes. And Red Bull? They flipped sides. Initially they were neutral, but now they're opposing Mercedes too. That's 4 out of 5 manufacturers all wanting changes. But hold on, because there's a much bigger story hiding underneath all this.
Mattia Binotto. Yeah, that Binotto just dropped a bombshell interview. He says Mercedes will be sandbagging hard this season. And it's all because of something called the ADUO system. Let me explain how this works. ADUO stands for Additional Development and Upgrade Opportunities. Every 6 races, the FIA measures engine performance. If you're 2% behind the leader, you get bonus development time. If you're 4% behind, you get massive extra development allowance. Now here's the loophole. What if the leader isn't showing their full power? Binotto knows this from experience. Back in 2014, when he was at Ferrari, Mercedes had a 100 horsepower advantage. 100. but they hid it. They ran their engines far below maximum to avoid triggering regulations. Now, in 2026, if Mercedes have 25 extra horsepower, they could just use 10 of it. Keep their rivals within a 1.5% gap, which means those rivals don't get the ADUO bonuses. As Binotto says, this incentivizes the best team not to show their full power. And the comments are backing this up. One engineer explained, "I bet you can slow the car 2 to 4% just by changing aero parts." Someone else asked, what stops other teams sandbagging too to push themselves outside the 4%? It's a valid question. The evidence is piling up. An ex-F1 driver claims the W17 ran 3 to 4 seconds off its full potential in Barcelona. Antonelli said the car felt very drivable, easy to push, suspiciously confident for pre-season testing. Even McLaren's CEO admitted he was surprised by the very strong power unit. My friend who works in motorsport engineering explained it like this. It's like having a 200-mile-per-hour car, but only going 180 in practice. Everyone thinks you're close to them, so they don't panic. Then race day? Boom, full beans, game over. That's the strategy. So what can the FIA actually do about all this?
Here's the problem. It's not as simple as just saying, Mercedes, stop it. There's a massive debate happening. The ROEL says no cylinder may have a compression ratio higher than 16.0. But the test says measured at ambient temperature, static conditions. Mercedes' argument? We passed the test exactly as written. The rivals' argument? The ROEL says 16:1 at all times. Best comment I saw on this. Speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour. That's any time, any condition. You can't just slow down at speed cameras, then go 80 everywhere else. Another one. Testing methodology is part of the rules. Changing it equals changing the rules. So what are the FIA's options? Option 1. Test engines hot instead of cold. That would catch Mercedes out. But it needs 4 of the 5 manufacturers to approve, plus the FIA, plus Liberty Media. Option 2. Ban it mid-season, like they did with DAS in 2020. Legal nightmare. Mercedes are threatening court action if this happens. Option 3. Allow it for 2026, ban it for 2027. That's the Brawn double diffuser precedent. But here's the Liberty Media problem. If Mercedes engines are deemed illegal, 4 teams can't race. Mercedes, McLaren, Williams, Alpine. That's a third of the entire grid. TV deals destroyed, sponsors furious. Liberty Media will not allow that disaster to happen. And here's the kicker. Mercedes apparently blocked a fix that would have prevented all of this. So there's actually a second controversy nobody's talking about. Front axle regeneration. Mercedes blocked a rule change that would have added an MGU-K to the front wheels. That would have solved the whole lift and coast in qualifying disaster we're facing this season. But Mercedes said no, because it would have hurt their competitive advantage. Comments nailed it. Mercedes blocking front axle regen is criminally under-discussed. Facts. They prioritized winning over making the sport watchable. And the Ferrari meme? Comments are killing it. Ferrari practiced lift and coast all last season. It's our year. Honestly, that's actually brilliant if it turns out to be true. Okay, so we're about a month from Melbourne, March 8th. Bahrain testing is February 11th through 13th and 18th through 20th. This is where the truth comes out. March 1st is the homologation deadline. Engines must be locked in. 3 scenarios here. Scenario 1. The FIA backs down. Mercedes dominate, rivals are furious, we get protests in Melbourne. Scenario 2. Mid-season compromise. Allow it for the first few races, ban it by Canada or Spain. Scenario 3. Nuclear option. It's illegal now. 4 teams don't race, total legal warfare. My prediction? Honestly, I think Liberty Media forces Scenario 2. They can't afford Scenario 3. But Melbourne qualifying? That's when we'll really know if Mercedes are sandbagging their true pace. So comments are absolutely split on this. Some are saying, this is F1, innovation is the sport. Merck outsmarted everyone, stop crying. Others are going, 16-1 means 16-1, period. This is Ferrari 2019 all over again. Strip the titles if they're caught. Best comments I've seen. I cook my roast potatoes at 205 degrees Celsius. I can't test them at room temperature. The creativity is unmatched. Another one. For them to design a new testing procedure is changing the rules. And FIA approved it, then complained. That's the real scandal. Look, I get both sides here. Mercedes played the game smart. They asked the FIA, they got approval every step of the way. But the rule does say 16-1. And if they're running 18-1 during actual races, that's not innovation. That's exploitation. And Binotto's sandbagging warning? That's the real concern for me. We could be heading for another 2014 to 2020 Mercedes domination era all over again. So I'm absolutely fascinated to hear your thoughts in the comments. Is this innovation or is this cheating? Should the FIA change the test procedure? Or is that completely unfair to Mercedes, who followed the rules as written? Will Mercedes sandbag the ADUO system to prevent rivals catching up? Are we heading for another Mercedes domination era? Let me know down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown. Subscribe if you're new to F1 News Breakdown. We're covering every twist and turn of this saga as it develops. And keep an eye on that front axle regen story. I think that might be the real scandal hiding underneath all of this. Bahrain testing starts in just a few days. We'll know the truth soon enough. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.